Today I want to answer the question, should you go out alone? So I'm primarily a day gamer. I like to go out and do day game, and most of the time I'm by myself when I'm out doing day game. However, most of the clients that I get, they really struggle to find the motivation to approach women. They struggle to just find the courage to get over their approach anxiety and go out and do it. And so for that reason, I usually bring those guys into one of my communities, like my school community, which I'll link below. It's a free community where they can meet other wingmen in their cities to go out with and do day game together. The reason that having a wingman really is beneficial is because when you make a schedule with somebody and you say, hey bro, let's meet up at 1 p.m. at the mall, we're gonna do some approaches together, then you're held accountable. And plus, when you show up, you're not just there in your head by yourself, but you're with a community. You're part of a community. You have another guy there that's in the same situation. He wants to meet chicks, you want to meet chicks, and neither one of you wants to look like a weakling, right? Like a loser, or someone who just doesn't have the guts to go and talk to girls. So when you go and you meet your wingman, you're going to be much more compelled to go and do your warm-ups at least and do your approaches. Now, I don't want you to think that if you don't have a wingman, you're not ever going to be able to overcome your approach anxiety, to meet more women. If you have a lot of approach anxiety, it doesn't matter if you're with a wingman or if you're by yourself. At some point, you're going to have to attack that head on and conquer your fears. Get over that approach anxiety, and the only real way to do that is by actually approaching. Basically, there's a concept, a psychological school of psychology called cognitive behavioral therapy. And in cognitive behavioral therapy, they really believe that if you confront your fears, if you take that client who's suffering, say, a phobia, like a fear of heights, a fear of embarrassing themselves in front of strangers, and you put them repeatedly in front of that fear so that they can face it head on, eventually this will lower their anxiety to a level where they can manage it more easily on their own. And so when you go out alone, I really call this putting on the heavyweight, because it's the hardest thing you can do as a man who doesn't have that ability to cold approach women yet, is to go out and do it by yourself. Now, if you do decide to go out and do it by yourself, this is the hardest thing you can do, and so therefore you're going to make the biggest gains. Because if you rely on a wingman to go with you every time you go out, what happens if the wingman is sick? What happens if you have a falling out with him and you guys aren't getting along anymore? You're just gonna stop approaching women. So you have to develop the skill, the autonomy to be able and go do this shit by yourself. Find your balls and go out and do it. Now, with every guy, they're going to struggle the most with the first approach. That's why you can go out alone, go to your day game spot and do some warm-ups. You do warm-ups by talking to the mailman, you talk to the barista, you talk to the guy sitting next to you in the coffee shop, you go to the gym, you start making small talk with everybody around you, not just the hot girls. And this will actually get you into a social state. It'll actually create flow, that feeling of flow that you get when you're doing something repeatedly and you start to develop some skill. So when you do your warm-up, this is going to warm you up to do your first real approach, which might be a direct approach. And so you see that hot girl and you start to feel that approach anxiety. I want you to read this free report I made called the Fearless Approach Blueprint. I have it in the link below. It'll give you a trick to overcome your approach anxiety so that you can just go up to those girls when you see them without stuttering and puking and whatever issues you have when it comes to approaching women. So you see the girl, you might be terrified, you might be having heart palpitations, you might be sweating, you might have a lot of internal dialogue going on, like, oh, you're gonna be creepy, what if people see you, what's she gonna think about you? You ignore all that, you follow the mystery method's 3-second rule, and you approach before you have time to stop yourself or talk yourself out of it. The first one's always the hardest, guys. But once you get in there, you just try to stay in there for 2 minutes, talk to her the best you can. If you can't talk, ask a bunch of questions. You don't have to be an expert at it. You don't have to be a masterful pickup guru. You just go in there, hey, what do you do? How's the weather? What do you do for fun? Ask basic questions in the beginning until you develop more confidence, and you hang in there as long as you can. And when you get out of that interaction, even if you had a full-blown panic attack, you're going to be stronger. And actually, you're going to feel so good, it's going to give you a feeling of momentum, and you're just going to want to try again. It's like when you go up on the diving board. When you're up there and you're going to jump into a swimming pool, maybe 10 meters tall, a big diving board, you're by yourself up there. You can look down and see the people looking up at you, but ultimately, you're still by yourself. However, you have that pressure of the people watching you, and that's why going out with a wingman helps you psychologically, is because, oh, there's someone here watching me. I have to jump, because if I don't jump, I'm going to have to turn around and go all the way back down those stairs. That's the equivalent of letting your wingman down, of like really wasting his time by bringing him all the way out to the city or wherever you're going to go do day game, and then you don't do shit, right? So having a wingman, yes, super helpful, especially if you're approaching 2 sets and you want to meet 2 girls and you've got a wingman to back you up. However, ultimately, you're born alone, you die alone, and all the gains you make in life you're going to have to do alone. Once you do the first approach, you're going to feel a powerful feeling of flow state. You're going to have momentum, especially if you did warm-ups before that, and then you're going to be off to the races, man, for the rest of the day. The same goes for the nighttime. That's another topic. I'm going to talk about going out alone at night. But the main takeaways here is, yeah, you can totally go out and day game alone. You're always out anyway. What are you doing? You're shopping, you're going to the gym, you're going to maybe work in a coffee shop if you work online like I do in beautiful Bali, Indonesia. That's where I'm living. Check this place out. That's my swimming pool down there. Yeah. So yeah, you should do it alone, because you're going to make the biggest gains if you go out and you conquer your fears. You put yourself in front of your fears, and your subconscious mind will develop a reward mechanism rather than a flight mechanism. It's going to say, hey, that was pretty fun. Actually, we could do better next time. And you learn from your mistakes, and you're going to want to keep going out. That's how it works, okay? So yeah, go out alone, but you should also have a wingman. You can go out one day alone, one day with your wingman, and get many wingmen. You can find them, like I said, in my community, or if you can't find any there, reach out to me with a DM, and I'll give you some more resources so you can meet other guys in your city to go out and wing with you when you do your approaches. So that's it, man. Hit like if you like this video, and leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. If you have any questions or you just want to tell me how awesome I am, I love to hear that stuff. Until next time.